And these mysterious flaming horses, as they are described here, that take Elijah up into heaven, a kind of ascension, as we might later think of Jesus. But here Elijah had not died. There are two in the Old Testament that were said to not have died, and yet were taken up to heaven in body in this strange mystery. Enoch, about whom little is said, and Elijah, about whom we have this account. And there was this expectation at the time of Christ that Elijah would return. And that when Elijah would return, that God would restore things in their right order to overcome the corruption and idolatries, injustices. What did Jesus say about that? He said, yes, Elijah will come, but he also said Elijah did come, and you did not recognize him. He was, of course, speaking about John the Baptist. Elijah stood for an overcoming of the evil deception and corruption that had not just become present and common, but really had become institutionalized, deeply ingrained in the network of the culture and of the institutions, in the worship, in the governing, the leadership. Of course, we had in yesterday's stories of the terrible King Ahab, idolater, and his worst wife, Jezebel. Very a common name. That was the state of affairs, that falsehood had overtaken everything completely, really. But Elijah stood up against it virtually alone and defeated it by the power of God. So Elijah is a symbol of the overcoming of the impossible odds when everything has gone wrong for a long time. When John the Baptist should appear 800 years after this event, John appears as one who is not afraid. He cuts through it all. He challenges King Herod about his morality of his adulterous marriage with Herodias. He's not afraid. Everybody else is afraid and not saying anything. John the Baptist was a kind of fire, and he brought light, courage to the people. Certainly we will experience again something that God will overthrow everything that is not of the truth, that is not of the order that God wills. Whatever mystery God has in mind will take place, because truth and evil in the end cannot stand. They are not lasting realities. And yet in this reading, Elijah isn't looking for any fanfare at all. There's a sense that he is going to be leaving his prodigy, his disciple Elisha, as opposed to Elijah. He's attempting to leave him behind. Elijah doesn't desire that this spectacle and whatever is going to happen be seen by anyone. He presumes it's all going to take place in secret. But his protege, Elisha, is persistent, stays with him, and he, in the end, does become a witness of Elijah's spectacular being taken up to heaven in a fiery whirlwind. But even Elisha isn't sure at this point. He said, well, if you see it happen, if you see it, Elijah's not sure that anybody is going to see it. It doesn't appear that anybody else saw it because they had distanced themselves. Jesus assures us that nonetheless, whatever is done in secret, God sees in full power and in full vision. May we rid ourselves of any corruption, that we will be discovered completely as living in